I will say at this moment in time, I've lost all sense of objectivity with the result. Recently, I set myself a challenge to write, record, mix, master and release a song in just 20 days. But to make things a little tougher, I had to make use of some particular hardware and plugins that are on sale during Black Friday. Now, as if that wasn't enough, I had to make a video about it. This is that video. Of course, the first thing I needed to do was actually write a song. I mean, without that, I wouldn't have anything. And I could have used AI, I guess, but meh. It's just not the way I roll. I actually enjoy the process of kind of crafting a song and paying attention to very specific details and nuances. But I was looking for inspiration and I needed it quickly. And on this occasion, it came from a virtual instrument. It was UJAM's Virtual Pianist. Now, this plugin has actually had some improvements recently, which made it much more usable and flexible for me. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But this actually helped me to create the basis of the music of the song. And from there came some inspiration for lyrics. Then I was able to start recording. Now, although I did record the instruments first and the vocals last, I want to start off by talking about the recording process with the vocals because, let's face it, they're the star of the show. Warm Audio had recently sent me their WA-47 Junior condenser microphone, and I was eager to try it out on the lead vocals. And I have to say, I found it's got quite a bit of character. It's got a nice warmth to it, and the highs are nice and smooth, which is really handy when you've got a very sibilant singer. Now, this kind of retro sound followed through to the mic preamp we were using, which was the WA-MPX. Now, this really has a lot of character, and I think it really contributed a lot to the sound of these vocals. And in particular, I liked the way that at times it could be nice and clean, and then it got much edgier and sort of gritty in the louder parts of the performance, and I really enjoyed that change. You're going to hear that in just a moment. But before you do, I want to tell you that we also then went through a couple of compressors, the WA-76 to tame the transients, and then the WA-2A to kind of really smooth things out. That's a very typical kind of vocal chain for me in terms of compressors, and I really like having it on the way in because I think it really helps the performer to get a sense of the final product a lot more, and they can kind of sing into the compression. Now, all of this meant that I didn't actually have to do that much processing on the vocal during the actual mix. So what you're going to hear now is the actual recording of the vocal dry through this vocal chain, and then I'll let you hear it in the context of the mix with some very light processing on it.
I cannot sleep because you need to know that I need to breathe, so I am letting go.
By the way, you are going to get to hear the whole song at the end of this video, so you'll get to hear all of these components in context. Now, this WA-47 Junior microphone also got used for the recording of the acoustic guitar, but this time I blended it with the very special Fentone ribbon microphone from Warm Audio. This is one of my favorite recording techniques for acoustic guitar, especially if I've got a strummed acoustic guitar like this one with a pick, and I want to make sure that it keeps that kind of nice modern sound to it, but it has some good amount of warmth to it. Now, don't be misled by the camera angles on this one. These microphones are actually about 18 inches away from the guitar. Let's hear them blended together, first of all completely dry, and then in the context of the rest of the music. For the electric guitar, the Fentone also got a showing in a classic pairing with an SM57. Now, I've seen a lot of people have both of these microphones right up against the grill of the cabinet, and whilst that can definitely work, I found that I got better results with this recording with the ribbon mic, the Fentone, some way away, quite a few inches away from the guitar cabinet. This enabled me to pick up a little bit more of the room sound, which I found quite nice in the recording. Now, of course, I didn't use the reverb which was built into the amp. I added that later. So what you're going to hear now is a very dry sounding electric guitar amp, but let's hear that and then blend it with the rest of the recording. Warm Audio have some pretty sweet deals on this Black Friday. Check out the WA76D. It's very similar to the version that I used in this video, and there's discounts off both the single and dual channel versions. And if you like this with a slightly different flavor, then you may want to check out the kind of blue stripe version. The WA76A and the dual channel version, the A2, also have some fantastic discounts. Now, if you enjoyed that lovely ribbon microphone, the Fentone that I used in this video, then why not grab two for $300 off? Now, I also have it on very good authority, and I probably shouldn't be telling you this, that in the coming days you're also going to see a discount on the single Fentone microphone, as well as a discount on the dual channel version of the WA MPX that I used in this video. So I'd mentioned earlier that I had become inspired during the writing process by UJAM's virtual pianist. So I want to show you what I mean by that and how it kind of got me inspired as a non sort of keyboard piano player, so I can play some basic chords and things, which is what I did. I had a sort of a bit of a chord progression in mind, and I played it on this virtual instrument, and it just kind of made me smile. You'll see what I mean in a moment, but here is Virtual Pianist, and the particular version I'm using here is Vogue. And if I just play some keys, you can see what I'm playing is appearing there with the purple notes. But if I put it in player mode, in a moment you're going to see the notes that I played when I recorded this little demo for you here. But you're going to see what this instrument does to this now as it tries to embellish the chords that I'm playing with the kind of thing that a pianist might do. And exactly what that pianist is doing, you control with these keys down here. I'm just going to leave it on one key for the moment to give you a rough idea, first of all, of what it might do. So my chord progression, and I played the basic chords, but it embellished it. Now have a listen to what happens as I just use my mouse here to play some of these other yellow keys down here. So we get lots of variations, the kind of things that you could use in different verses and different parts of verses. Now, apart from that, I feel like you sort of end up playing almost like a conductor or more of a producer role if you're a basic player like me on keys. And you can really affect the feel, depending on which styles you're choosing in that, using the velocity and this sort of busyness thing down here. So I'm just going to adjust these two. So first of all, velocity. And now busyness. Now, here's the bit that they've changed with this plugin since I looked at it quite a while ago. And it was something that I really wanted them to do, and it was extremely welcome for this project, because now you can capture that whole performance and you can output it just as MIDI. You could, in theory, send it out to a real, piano keyboard if you wanted to, or you can send that MIDI to any other virtual instrument of your choice, any other piano, for example, of your choice. Now, there was two aspects to that which really made me very happy. First of all was the fact that now I didn't have to stick to this piano, as good as it sounds actually, and I really do like the sound of this piano. I could choose any piano from my library, but also once that MIDI was output, I recorded it to another track, and I was able to go in and fine tune the playing to specific things that I wanted. So I kept most of what it did, but I tweaked some bits by hand, and I even played some bits in there as well. So this was sort of just really incredibly inspiring for me early on in the piece. If you liked the idea of the Vogue virtual pianist that I used in this song, check this out. If you head over to UJAM at the moment, it's got 93% off. You can pick it up for just $9. Or you may want to get 60% off of the virtual pianist bundle, and then you can pick that up for just $99. Now, while you're over at UJAM, don't miss this fine print that you can see here. If you spend more than $99, you get the Rhodes V-Rack for free. Spend more than $149 and you get the Rhodes Anthology. Check out the links in the description below. So something that I think is highly underestimated before you dive into mixing is editing. Now, it can be a little bit time consuming, but it can get you some great results, and goes from anything like cutting out unwanted background noises through to really fine tuning the clip gain with a particular performance, and even going in and manually adjusting the gain of things like sibilants before you even use a de-esser. Now, one particular part of the mix that I really like to focus on here is vocals, and there are a couple of tools that are available in the Black Friday sales that I really made a lot of use of in this production. One of those plugins is RePitch 2 from Vocalign. Now, we took a pretty simple approach to repitching the vocals in this song. We wanted to keep them really natural, so we only did repitching for notes that stood out to us as a bit pitchy as we were listening. Now, in terms of using this tool, if we found a note, say like this one, which we thought sounded a bit pitchy, then you can just double click on it and it will go to the next nearest sort of note. Now, there's other tools in here as well. You can do things like easily affect pitch drift and all that kind of thing, but we kept a pretty simplistic approach. But what I find really, really handy about this RePitch tool is the new timing aspects that they've got in version 2. If we go over to the attack tab over here, you can see that it's taken a look at the vocals, and I think what it does is it detects all of the transients, and you can see those lines are in place where all of the transients of the vocal are. Now, this is very interesting because it means that you can use this vocal as a kind of a grid, as a reference, if you like, for any other vocals. And we had quite a few stacked vocals in various places in this song. And this particular version enabled us to combine RePitch with another plugin from SynchroArts, and that is Vocalign. If I click on this little button down here, it makes this lead vocal the kind of master, if you like, for timing. And when I go over to one of the other stacked vocals, you can see then that that is captured in there as the guide vocal, and then I can just click on capture for whatever vocal I want to time it with, and then you can see it's aligned those vocals. Now, this can make a really big difference to the kind of tightness and almost the professionalism, I guess, of the sound of a vocal group. It can really help them to sound sort of less scattered, if you like. And it's really time consuming to do this manually. You can do it manually, but super time consuming. I certainly didn't have time. So I was very grateful for this tool because it just took like a couple of minutes to align all of the vocals in the vocal stack. So let's have a listen to the before and after.
And I could stay if you want to, and I could live a lie if you need to, and I could stay if you want to, and I could live a lie if you need to.
If you head over to LANDR at the moment to check out their Black Friday sale, you might notice that some of their plugin bundles include various versions of both RePitch 2 and Vocalign 6 that I used in this video. Now, when you consider all of the other things which are included in these bundles and the big discounts you've got at the moment, it's definitely worth taking a look. And while you're over there, also check out LANDR Studio, especially the standard and pro versions. If you hover your mouse over that little information icon with the LANDR plugin bundle that's included, you'll notice again that there's various versions of RePitch 2 and Vocalign 6 included. And when you consider the big discounts and everything that's included here, it's definitely worth taking a look. Just check out the link in the description down below. By far, one of the most challenging aspects of this challenge that I had set myself was the fact that I was using new studio monitors just a few days in. Now, this can really mess with you because each set of monitors has their own character, and for a while it can really throw you. But I knew I had to do it, and what I did was, once I had them set up, I made sure that I used them as much as possible to get my ears tuned into the character of these monitors. Now, I wanted to also give myself some advantages here by employing some other strategies, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about the actual monitors I ended up using. So Carly sent me their SM5 studio monitors. These 5-inch monitors are a 3-way coaxial design, so the mid-range and the tweeter are combined into one space. This is a design I've seen on other monitors and I've really enjoyed it. And right away it was apparent that these are very high quality monitors. Now, Carly, of course, are known for their IN series of monitors, where people will normally say they punch way above their weight. And that's true, but they are made to a budget. It seems with the SM series, however, that Carly have gone, don't worry about budget so much here. Let's make a genuinely high quality monitor. And that's what they've done, in my opinion. However, with any new monitor in your space, it can take a bit of getting used to. And that was certainly true of these monitors for the first couple of days at least. They are brutally honest, is the way I would describe them. Kind of like that best friend you have that always tells you the truth that perhaps you don't want to hear at the moment. Particularly in the mid-range, they were revealing things on my old mixers that made me want to kind of go back in time and fix everything, but we can never do that, of course. Now, they do have some onboard DSP, and you can use that for, sort of room correction and things like that. They've got their own system that you can use for that. I happen to use a different system, which I was more familiar with, but check out the system that Carly has for this SM range of monitors. Carly have some really handy Black Friday deals going on at the moment. If you fancy a new pair of headphones, then check out the HP ones. I did review these on the channel before, and they've got a $50 saving at the moment. Maybe you'd like a nice new pair of white IN5 monitors. These, again, as I said earlier, really punch above their weight. They've got a $100 saving at the moment. But if you want to get really serious about your monitoring, then you might want to check out the SM5 monitors that I was actually using in this project. Currently, they have a $200 saving. And if you fancy using some Bluetooth devices in your studio with things like, say, your studio monitors or maybe your audio interface, then check out the Bluetooth injector. It's currently got a $30 saving. Just follow the link in the description below. So in order to give myself the best possible chance with these new studio monitors in this room, I decided to make use of Sonarworks SoundID Reference. I've actually been using this for some years now, and essentially what it does is it helps you to measure your room in terms of frequency response. and then it creates an EQ curve to compensate for sort of deficiencies in your or from your listening position in your room. Now it does this in a really easy way, even for dummies like me who don't really understand too much about this thing. The process is super simple. I'm going to say that all in all, it takes around about 10 minutes or so to measure your room using their microphone. Now you can either use it handheld or you can do like me and put it on a stand. So it walks you through that process, creates your curve for you. And one of the things I really like about it, and it's something that's come along more recently with them, is not only can you then apply that EQ curve to a plugin which is in your DAW, but you can also, if you've got compatible hardware, apply it to some hardware. Now I've got an RME interface which is compatible, so I'm using it on there, but there are some studio monitors and things where you can actually make use of the profiles that this software creates. Now if you want to make use of SoundID Reference as I have in my mix environment, I wouldn't waste any time because the Black Friday sale over at Sonarworks is only on for another few days. Now if you do head over there quickly enough, then you may get yourself a nice sweet deal on SoundID Reference, because it's currently, at the time of making this video, got $100 off. You might also want to check out SoundID Voice AI. I reviewed that on this channel recently and that's currently got $40 off. It's worth checking out all of the deals over there at Sonarworks. There's some really interesting things going on there. Just follow the link in the description down below. Something that becomes really important in mixing, especially towards the end of your mix, is to test it on different systems and in different environments, but that can be quite cumbersome and time consuming. So that's why I made use of this plugin. This is called Space Replicator. It's from Lewitt, who we normally associate with microphones, and it allows you to easily test your mix in different environments. So I can test it here in different studios, for example, or even some other real world environments like the car or the living room or the kitchen. So they all will reveal different aspects to your mix. And you can also test them on different headphones. So you could try them on some sort of earbuds or something along those lines. Now, talking about headphones, of course, you won't use your monitors to test your mix in these different environments. You will make use of your headphones. So it needs to know which headphones you're using. So you select them over there and they've got a vast choice of headphones. Even some quite niche ones from my collection were in there. But Lewitt have taken it a little bit further than that to make sure it's more accurate. They do some sort of profiling of your headphones. You go through a sort of a test on their website and it creates a profile according to your head, your size and shape of your head, because that actually changes the sound of your headphones. So I really love that attention to detail on this. Lewitt has a great deal on both the essential and standard version of Space Replicator at the moment, with 50% off of either of those versions. But if you do head over to Lewitt, I wouldn't stop with just Space Replicator. Take a look at their deals on microphones as well, especially the LCT 940 and Pure Tube. I've heard very good things about them. During mastering, I really only used one plugin and I made extensive use of a reference track. Now, my song is really quite dynamic. It's very quiet in some passages and very loud in other passages. So it was important to have a well-produced reference track, a professionally mastered reference track, for both tonal reasons, but more than that, for me to judge how loud it should be in those different passages. Now, having said I only used one plugin, we'll talk about that in a moment. There was another couple of plugins that I don't really count as mastering. They're kind of pre-mastering, and I use them on my master bus in the mix. So let's talk about those first. So one plugin I often make use of, especially on my master bus, but you can use it on any kind of track if you like, is Gullfoss. Now, if you're not aware of Gullfoss, it's basically best described as an intelligent EQ. It can listen to your audio, and in the moment it can adjust frequencies either by attenuating them or reducing them or boosting them. And the end result of that for me is that it sort of adds clarity either to a mix or to individual tracks. It just kind of cleans it up. So Kraftur is a multi-band saturator, and it can be very useful in terms of improving the perceived loudness whilst maintaining the dynamics. And for this particular song, that was going to be really, really important. So I didn't want all of the heavy lifting of the loudness to be happening just with the compressors and limiters in my mastering phase. I wanted to help the mix along its way before that kind of mastering phase, if you like, kind of pre-mastering, by using a plugin like this, and saturation can be particularly useful in this way. Now, if Kraftur appeals to you for your mixes, you can get it for 50% off at the moment over at Soundtheory, and the same applies to the wonderful Gullfoss that we discussed earlier. Just follow the link in the description down below. So Masterplan from Musik Hack was really the plugin that I used for mastering. And I like this very straightforward approach of using one plugin with just a few controls. Although I've used complex mastering chains for mastering before, and I have a decent understanding of them, I just like the simplicity of having a few controls that are doing a lot of the things I would do with lots of controls anyway. And I'm able to focus just on the sound more than anything. Musik Hack claim that your song could be release ready in minutes by using Masterplan, and I can actually confirm that, because whilst this project took 20 days, the actual mastering part of it did actually take me just a few minutes. It really did feel like cheating, and that's why I think it's worth heading over to their site to check out their Black Friday sale, because you'll get 50% off, which will be applied at checkout. As usual, I released my song via DistroKid. It was quick and easy, and it gets your music to all of the major streaming services. If you follow that VIP link in the description down below, you'll get 7% off of your first year of membership. So at the time of filming this part of the video, it's actually very close to midnight at the end of the 18th day of my challenge. That leaves me now a couple of days to edit this video, make thumbnails, all that kind of thing, and I think I'm going to need every bit of those 2 days. At this moment in time, the song is released. There's nothing else I can do about that now. It's going out there into the wild, and when it's available, I'll put a link for it in the description down below. I will say at this moment in time, I've lost all sense of objectivity with the result. I'm too close to it. It's too soon after I've finished mixing and mastering it to really know whether I think I've succeeded with it or not. And I guess you're going to let me know in the comments down below. In a moment, I'm going to play the whole song for you, but before I do that, I just want to thank you for watching. I'm Mike. I hope you're well, and I really hope you enjoy this song.
I cannot hide, so I'll take it slow as I undo your heart with what we both know. I cannot sleep because you need to know that I need to breathe, so I'm letting go. And I could hang around, and I could play it down and tell you nothing's wrong. And I could stay if you want to, and I could live a life you need to, so you won't be alone. You're good, I see, and I know you try. 'cause I need to scream, but you